I want to discuss something today. Loads of times I get messages or phone calls, or I see on forums when people have been working on their BSA Ultra SE, Scorpion SEs, and even the R10. They complain that their pressure gauge is no longer working. Sometimes they blame the regulator, sometimes they think the gauge is broken, etc, etc. The way the gauge works is that there is a big fat O-ring that sits in the hole that the gauge screws into, and if you over tighten the pressure gauge, it squashes the O-ring, and the O-ring then seals the hole in the pressure gauge so it can't read. And just to prove the point, this rifle has got a regulator fitted. It's got a gauge in it. The gauge is reading, I don't know, less than 50 bar. It's about 25 bar. I don't know if you can see that. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to loosen the gauge now. I didn't screw it up tight, but I screwed it up tight enough to seal it. And we'll see what happens when I... There we go. Did you see the gauge jump there? It's now at about it's just under 100 bar according to the gauge. So there we go. Simple as that. Gauge isn't broken, rifle isn't broken, regulator didn't break your gun. It's just you've over tightened the gauge. So slacken it off a bit. Obviously don't go mad. If you loosen this too much, the gauge will obviously come shooting out and drill a hole in your head. So best just to when I fit them, I normally screw the gauge on finger tight using 2 fingers and just tighten it, get it to where I want it to be, because this obviously can be, you know, if you want your gauge to read from the side, you set it to the side. It'll still seal, that's still sealed, and you know, so you can position the gauge where you want it to be, but obviously bear in mind that if you only have it hanging on by one thread, you potentially have a missile attached to the bottom of your rifle. So just be careful. So there we go.